Hello everyone, welcome to another video of programming C. And today we will see fundamentals of C, and the topics which we are going to cover in this video: why to use C, fact about C, then we will see C built-in library functions, then C compiler, and at last we will see what is C programming structure, and we will write our first C program. So why to use C? As in previous video, I told that C is a language which is developed in Bell Telephone Laboratory for develop a operating system, which is Unix operating system. So initially it is only used for development of Unix operating system, but later on it is adapted by the programmers as a system development language because the codes runs nearly as faster as the assembly level languages. So so there is some example where C is used in these days are in operating system, in language compilers, in assemblers, text editors, network devices, and modern programming modem which are used in networking. So these are the basic things where C is used nowadays. So let us see some fact about C. C was developed to build the operating system called Unix, as we all know that. Then C is a successor program of language called B. We also know that. Then the language C is originally developed in 1970, but it was formalized in 1988 by the ANSI. By 1973, Unix operating system is fully developed and the C language is also almost written fully. Today, C is most widely used system programming language because, as we saw in our previous slide, that it executes the codes as faster as the assembly level languages. So that is why it is widely now used as system development language. Now, what is C built-in library function? So as it is a programming language, by default when the language was developed, or when the language was designed, by default there are some functions which are given to us to do some work in C programming language, C program. So the areas from which we have different functions, like here it is mentioned that for string manipulation, for memory management, for buffer management, for character functions, for error handling. So these are various type of C library functions are available with us to do different kind of jobs in a particular program. But the thing is that the library functions which are within the C, they are very limited when it was developed. Gradually, by generation, when C was generated, where there are very few library functions which we have. By gradually when the language is developed, new library functions are being included in that particular library. We will see different kind of library functions in our later on course, this course, where I will introduce you different new library functions which are available with this C. Now, C compiler. So as we all know that if it's a programming language, we need a compiler. So what is a compiler? Compiler is nothing but it's a small program, or you can tell it's a small software which convert your programming language to a language which can be understandable by the computer. So mainly the language understandable by the computer is the machine level language, or in simplified version it is known as binary language. So the main work of compiler is that to compile the program which is written in the C language or any high level languages to a machine level language which computer can read it and execute it. The operating systems like Unix and Linux have by default C compiler in their operating systems, but for Windows, Mac, we have to install some C compilers. the C compiler are available in market. We can install any of C compiler we want. So the work of compiler is to only convert that particular code or particular program written in a C language to a machine level language by which a computer can understand what is written and what to do and how to do. Fine. So compiler, again, compiler and assembler, we have another term, that assembler. So what are the difference between the compiler and assembler, or sorry, interpreter? I'm very sorry, it is interpreter. So the main difference between the compiler and the interpreter is that compiler compiles or convert the whole program into a machine level language at a time, whereas the interpreter will convert the program to a machine level language line by line. That means in compiler, if we want to compile a program, the whole program is converted into a machine level program, whereas in interpreter, each and every line, after writing each and every line, it will be interpreted into a, or it will be converted into a machine level language. So the both compiler and interpreter have their own pros and cons, but in case of C, we are using compiler. There are some languages where we are using interpreter. Fine. Now next, C program structure and our first program. See, as I told previously in my previous video, that C is a structured programming approach. C is a structured programming approach. So to write a C program, we have a specific structure. We have to write write every C program in that particular structure. In every in that particular structure, we have various functions. We can have more than one function. What is function is nothing but it's a group of sequential statements to execute to perform a particular task. Every C program is compulsory to have a main function. If in our C program we don't have main function, it will not execute, or the compiler will tell there is an error, because the compiler will first check where is the main function. The execution of each and every C program start from the main function itself. If we don't have main function, whatever may we write, the program will not execute. So there are 5 things which are very essential or which must be there in our C program. First one is your preprocessor command. Second one is your function. Third one is your variable. Fourth one is a statement or expressions. And fifth one is comment line. The fifth one, comment line, is your requirement. If you want to write any comment for any line in your program, you can write it. The comment lines are not compilable or not executable. Those lines which are written for comment will not be executed by the compiler or by the computer. The first and very important thing in our C program is that preprocessor command. If you do not write preprocessor command, it also gives you an error that cannot find the preprocessor command. So what is preprocessor command? It's a command, or it's a line or instruction in a C program that indicates or that gives order to compiler to include some header files for execution of main function. So what is header file? As we saw in previous slide, C built-in functions. The header files are the programs, or a big program, you can say it's also a program which contain those library functions, which contain those built-in library functions. So preprocessor command is compulsory for every C program. If you do not write a preprocessor command at first in your C program, it will give you an error. So preprocessor command gives the order to the compiler before compiling or before executing this particular C program. Please include this header file for execution of main function. Then we have function. The main function in every C program, it is compulsory. Without main function you cannot execute any C program. Further, you can write your own functions, and we have some library functions. There can be more than one function in a particular C program, but main function is the compulsory one. Then variables, we will see what is variable, what are the types of variable. Basically variable is nothing but it's a container to contain data for our C program. Then statements, expressions. Statements, expressions are different thing which are written inside the main function to execute for execution for a particular task to solve it. The previous video where we read about algorithm, the step by step, every step of algorithm is converted into some statement or some expressions in a program. As we know that algorithm is converted into flowchart, then flowchart is converted into program. So every step of algorithm or every step of flowchart is converted into some statements or in some expressions in a C program. And finally comments, as I told, comments are the statements which are written inside the program which are not compilable or not executable. They will not execute. Now let us see how to write a C program. Before writing a C program, let me show you what is preprocessor command, what is main function, how the preprocessor command is written, and how the main function is written. So as we saw in our slides, first we need a preprocessor command in our C program. So how to write C preprocessor command? To write a C preprocessor command, first in your program you have to write as include, then give the angular bracket, write your header file name. Initial, the header file name is stdio.h. stdio stands for standard input and output. And the angular bracket. Fine. So what is it? Has include is a preprocessor command which tells the compiler to include this header file. So stdio.h is a header file and has include is a preprocessor. The whole statement tells the compiler to include the stdio.h header file before compiling or before executing the main function. Okay, so then the main function. So as I told you, first you need a preprocessor command. So first we will write the preprocessor command as include angular bracket stdio.h. After writing this, just under the hash you will start main, main brackets. After this, just under the m start your curly braces. Within that curly braces or after that curly braces, you can write your statements, your expressions. At last you have to close that curly braces. So the main function, the starting and ending of curly braces, this particular area is known as scope of function or scope of main functions. Whatever you want to do in your program, you have to write within this curly braces. The statements or expressions which are written in this particular within this curly braces are included in the main function, and the execution, sorry for this, and the execution will start from the main function itself. Okay, now let us see how to write in a C program in computer, how to compile it and how to find the output. Okay, this is about the window where we will write our C program. So before writing C program, let me tell you, it is the compiler which is known as dev C++. It's a C++ compiler where we can also write C programs. So before compiling this program, we have to save it in an extension .c. I will tell you how to save it. So before writing C program, here we have file. You have to go to file, then new, then go for source file. So here we will start writing our C program. So first we will write the preprocessor command as include angular bracket stdio.h, whichever header file, enter. Then we will write the main function main, the brackets, enter, start your curly braces, enter. So in this particular compiler we will find that it is very easy to write, because when you are giving starting curly braces, it will give you automatically ending curly braces. When you start a bracket, it will automatically give you ending bracket. Fine. So within this main function we will write statement. We have a built-in library function to print a particular statement or print anything, print a line in C, which is known as printf. So we'll write printf bracket start. Whatever thing you want to print, you have to write within a double quote. So starting double quote, we will write like, share, and subscribe, double quote, and very important, each and every statement in C should have a semicolon at the end. If you don't give any semicolon at the end, it is invalid. It will give you an error. So this is our function, our first function. Let us see how to compile it. So this is the button for compile, see, and the shortcut is F9. When you press this compile, it will give you pop-up to save it. So here we will write, it is our first program, so we will write first underscore program and save as type, change it to C source file. See, it's converted into first underscore program dot C. Dot C is the extension for C program. Then save it. See, after saving it, it is already compiled, status written there, done, and it's compiled within 0.98 second. So close it. Then at side of compile, we have run button. Just press run. When you press run, the particular C program or this particular C file will be again compiled and it will run. It will take some time because it's very new for me and very new for this computer. So see, like, share and subscribe. The process executed with return value is 23. Fine. Press any key to exit from the output window. Fine. So this is our first program. This is the demo for how to write the C program, how to save it, how to compile it, and how to run it. After running, how to see the result, and from the result window, how to come back to the source window. So for next video, do like my video, subscribe it, and wait for the next video where we will see new things like variables, constants, different thing. Thank you.